Hello, family. So I want to take a brief intermission before we jump into today's devotional to make sure that I properly thank everybody for all of the well wishes, the birthday wishes that I got yesterday for my 40th birthday. I am still incredibly overwhelmed by the tremendous amount of outpouring of love that came my way, whether it was a call, a text, a comment, a post, a message, you just prayed for me, you just anybody who took some time out of their day to wish me happy birthday. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's the little things like that that make a person feel seen and make a person feel loved. So I want to make sure that each and every last one of you know that I appreciate you. I appreciate all of your kind words, your encouragement, the prayers that you have given me. Those things are the things that make me feel special. Those are the things that constantly remind me that God has surrounded me with some amazing people, that I have a wonderful community around me. So, if you know me, you know that I like to personally respond to everybody. But I have quite a few messages, so I haven't gotten to all of them yet. But that doesn't mean that I won't. I will make sure that I personally respond to each person. So give me a little bit of grace as I get through it. But thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I take none of it for granted. Each notification, I take none of it for granted. So let's get on today's subject. While we're on the topic of notifications, I kind of want to talk about something that I read today. Let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever been so overwhelmed by work, your responsibilities, your family, and even your own thoughts that you couldn't hear God anymore? The reality is the problem isn't God stopped speaking to you. It's that your life has gotten way too loud. So, I have started reading this book. It's called Spirit Sailing. I just picked it up at Half Price Books. It seemed pretty interesting, and found out that it was actually published here in St. Louis at a publishing house here in St. Louis. And I got through the very first chapter of it. And there's a character in here. He goes by the name of Dan. And what they talk about is how his entire life is controlled by notifications, deadlines, and constant outward pressure. His entire life is like mounting by these particular things. Every ding pulled his attention further and further and further away from the things that matter the most: God, his family, and even himself. So it brought me to another part of my devotion that my studies that I was dealing with today. I was reading and um, John chapter, I think it's John chapter 10. Yeah, John chapter 10, verses 27. And it reads, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." And it got me to thinking about the importance of hearing God's voice, the importance of knowing his voice, the importance of following his voice and making that a priority in our lives. Jesus reminds us that his sheep recognize his voice, not because he speaks louder than everything else, but because they have learned to listen. So Habakkuk 3:17 through 19 talks about, even if everything falls apart, if you have no harvest, if you got no fruit, if you got no provision, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. So no matter what else is going on, if you got all this calamity going on in your life, everything is falling apart, we have to remember always, we will rejoice in the Lord still, no matter what. Faith does not depend on perfect circumstances. It depends on the faithful God that we serve. So, how can we apply any of this to our lives? I want you to ask yourself three simple questions. One, what notifications have become louder than God's voice? 2, what responsibilities are distracting you from His presence right now? And 3, have you been following pressure or following the shepherd? Sometimes God is asking us to do more. He's asking us to become still enough so that we can learn how to hear Him. So, today, before you answer another notification, before you do anything else that you feel overly obligated to do, answer God's invitation. Spend a few quiet moments listening for His voice, learning what that sounds like. Because the Good Shepherd is still speaking to you. And those who belong to Him will still hear His voice. So remember, like it says in John chapter 10, verse 27, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I love you. This is it for day 2. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.